is going to be cool.
The topics and opinions expressed on the Dudes and Beer podcast are intended for an audience of 18 and up and are solely those of the host and guest. They neither reflect the opinions or values of either the sponsors of Dudes and Beer or your mother. I mean, seriously. Have you ever heard these guys? They'll talk about anything.
Whoa, hey, you think they're going to show it? They'll probably just blur it out. Whoa, check it out, Beavis.
Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to epic episode 68 of Dudes and Friggin' Beer. Yeah. I am Chris Jordan, your host. With me tonight, as always, is Nelson Kugle and Stephen Bishop here in the cave, coming at you live from Austin, Texas. Tonight, we're going to be having a little bit of fun. We're going to talk a little bit about F1, the whole thing that goes on out there. You know, we've talked a little bit about it on the show before. Sure. We were right at having media passes, and then I got booked for a week-long gig and didn't get to follow through with that, unfortunately. But we do have some coverage on that, some updates as far as the winners and stuff like that go. And then after that, we're going to be talking a little bit about Halloween and you know, Halloweeny, just some fun holiday. Stuff. Yeah. Same here, and we're going to talk about why it's our favorite holiday. We have a great Halloween episode coming up. Sweet. With Billy Stewart from Scary Dad.
Oh yeah.
So really, that's going to be an epic one. It's going to be excited to hear that one. So all that and more whenever we come back from this message from our sponsor.
Hey, he don't even have his license, Lisa.
Three drunk drivers.
Hey, everybody. Chris Jordan, host of the Dudes and Beer podcast here. Has this ever happened to you? Tired of looking in your rearview mirror after a couple of drinks with friends or worrying about no-refusal weekends and DUI stops? Are you planning a night on the town and want an easy, safe way to get around while still having fun? Well, Fare is the ride service for you. Simply download the easy-to-use and free Fare app from the Google Play Store or iTunes Marketplace and use promo code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to save 10% off your ride. Have a Fare driver you liked riding with? You can not only give them a review and tip, but you can add them to your preferred drivers list on your Fare app and request them every time you ride with Fare. You can schedule rides with Fare to pick you up immediately or as far as 30 minutes to 7 days in advance, eliminating the need for last-minute calls and allowing you to pre-schedule pickups in locations other than your home city. Perfect for those traveling for business or for fun. So don't forget to stop on by and download that free Fare app and use the coupon code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to get 10% off your ride. That's right, don't forget the coupon code is DUDES10. So be like Dudes and Beer, everybody. Party safe, use Fare, and drink responsibly.
Always.
That's right. Always, always, always party safe. We just got done with all kinds of festivals here in town. ACL, no refusal weekends with that.
Oh, man, that's almost every day now.
Oh, it's ridiculous how frequently it happens. Just the rate, and you know, like I said earlier before we went live, there was so much going on in the news over the last week that I was really, really hoping that whenever I got back that the gremlins had not gotten into the stash of water over here. But apparently the Mogwai did, and they are now gremlins. So, unfortunately, we had a little issue with the drive for our turntable tonight. So, we were not able to air our vinyl edition night of Beck Odelay, but we will come back to that. We will come back to many, many more vinyl nights.
Many more vinyl nights. I assure you.
I was hoping for that mainly because, good God, there's so much shit going on, dude. There's so much shit going on that it's ridiculous. Yeah. And I I wanted a night where we maybe didn't have to talk about all that.
Right.
But I think maybe the fact is sweet baby Jeebus needs us to talk about it, and that's why the turntable ain't working.
Baba Jesus told me
so. You know, it's one of those, it's just one of those moments where, like, Nelson was like, crush that keyboard. Do it. And I was like,
snap it over the knee.
And you saw me, man. I was right there, and I was like, no, I won't. I will take the high road here. I will not destroy this piece of equipment.
Strong man.
not that I don't have other keyboards, but it was just one of those moments of like, I will destroy you right now because you're keeping me from going live. And it just set me off. And it's one of those, like, so much shit sets me off, man. It's so hard to look around the world right now and see things that are going on without being set off.
That's very true.
Like the video that you posted today a few weeks ago, we covered the beginning of the Dakota Pipeline protests with those out at Sacred Stone or Standing Stone, the Standing Stone Sioux tribe. And just today, the Aztecs came up and joined the American nations. And that's just it. Like, people don't realize
they made an entry too.
There's not a whole lot of press going on about this with everything going on. And dude, this is probably has to be next to and I'm going to go beyond Million Man March. Right. I'm going to go beyond Million Man March here because Million Man March was a protest. And it was probably the biggest protest.
And how many days did that last?
It definitely hadn't lasted this long.
Right, exactly.
It definitely wasn't a month long, dude. And this thing's been going on for close to a month now. Right. And the fact that, they were arresting people today for saging the air. Like, they're literally praying.
They were arrested for burning sage.
Yep.
Yes, for saging the air. And you know what? As a matter of fact,
I posted that, I found that, and I thought that was just over the line.
Yeah, no, to me it is. To me it is over the line. Because like I said in the post, I was like, oh geez, now we're just setting the table for arresting people for praying publicly.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Exactly.
What are you going to do next time you see somebody bow down to the east?
Are we going to be arresting
her
belief.
Them?
Right. They're arresting her for her belief.
Like she's literally practicing her religion right now. Oddly enough, on a sacred spot. That's kind of what this whole thing's about, is that they are actively in a sacred spot. The Standing Stone for them is a sacred place. And last time we reported about it, they were busy bulldozing graveyard.
Bulldozing the graveyard.
They were busy bulldozing a burial ground. And it blows my mind to see things like that going on all over the place now.
I have great news.
What's that?
Charges dropped against Indigenous women for ancient religious practice.
Good.
Great. I hope that's the one in question.
Smudging sage has been practiced for centuries before there was Lindsay Flanagan courthouse. On the very land before there was Denver, yet a descent of those who once practiced the ritual in those very locations was forced today to face charges of disobeying lawful order, yada, yada, yada. Charges dropped.
Yeah.
That's good. But still, that's ridiculous that there were charges pressed.
I don't have any sage with me, but I do have some tobacco here, so that's just as sacred.
Yeah, that's good tobacco.
I will incense our place with tobacco this evening in solidarity because typically my sage stick is here for smudging, to get rid of bad energies, things like that, bad hoodoo. And to me, it's one of those I say hoodoo.
There's no
that's because that's what most people refer to it as.
Repercussions or anything, or for making false arrests or wrong arrests or something. It's just kind of
and the guys in the video, were straight up. Well, they were straight up saying like, "We understand. We know what you're saying. Yeah. We know what you're saying." Like, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that a lot of these cops, like, they don't want to be there doing that. They don't want to have to be doing that. Right. But unfortunately it's their job.
You're right, yeah. And I guess that's just something they choose. If what side you want to be on. Do you if you want to be a cop that has to enforce these things that maybe you might be enforcing something you don't believe in that you have to do and stuff like that. Maybe you should make that moral judgment, and also not do your job or find a different job at that.
Go ahead, Nelson. Go ahead.
That's also the problem between separation of church and state.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like if that is the religious, like they're not causing any harm. Right. They are burning sage and speaking words.
Yeah.
If a cop comes up and is like, "Oh, I need to arrest this person."
Exactly.
Well, we've already,
I don't know the context.
We've already made it, and we've made the point on here before. At least I've made the point on here before about regulating personal decisions, and the fact of there are some people who it is their religious belief not to go to a doctor.
Right.
call their religious belief crazy, whatever you want to, but that's their religious belief, and you can't stop them from that.
True.
But I guess you can definitely federally regulate them and tax them if they don't participate in the Obamacare market. So you see the parallel there. It's the fact of now you've regulated somebody into a decision, number one.
Right.
Number two, you've said if you don't make the decision we want the way we want you to make it, you get to be taxed.
Yeah.
And
I remember the
to
story
me,
about
that
the girl with the
sets a-
cancer that they forced her to do chemo.
Yeah.
You remember hearing about that?
She was forced to take chemo treatments when she downright refused to take chemo, and the doctors said no. This is what you need to do, and they had the right to tell her that somehow.
Right.
Well, he was trying to save her life, is what it sounds like. But still, if she refused no, the doctor has to understand no is no.
No is no. No means
And
no.
I know he's probably trying to be a hero. I'm like, look, we can actually fucking save your life.
No, but the thing is, chemo is one of the least ways to save somebody's life. Well, like
It's horrible what it does to your body.
Like
It's not horrible, Steve.
It's like if it doesn't
saves
kill you,
people.
then it'll save you.
No, Steve,
Yeah.
it saves people.
Because the radiation is so intense. It's unreal. And
in most cases,
it's killing you while it's killing what it's killing you.
It doesn't save. In most extreme cases. If you have a light case of cancer,
But
yes.
in most extreme cases, the doctor does not need to be prescribing chemotherapy because the doctor already knows that the stem cell has gone far beyond and it's not going to be able to...
But we can't use stem cells yet.
But I'm saying... It's gone so far past that
That's your Joe Biden.
chemotherapy
I'm with
won't
you.
help it.
I'm with you.
So when you catch it at the right stage, chemotherapy does work.
If it
does
can,
help.
yes.
I would think if it was at like that infant beginning stage, I would think that would maybe benefit.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. Look it up.
Yeah.
I mean, learn on
It
it.
depends.
I don't
It
know.
depends on the type of cancer that it is.
Right.
It depends on numerous factors as to whether or not
I just know
that is
what-
considered the best
I just know
course of treatment.
how deadly the radiation from chemo is.
How deadly is it? If
Oh,
you know?
dude, it's like they don't even report the right findings on that.
How do you know?
Because I mean, they did come
Look
out
up
with
you're
there's
on
many
right now.
articles.
Google the
Yeah.
success rate of chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So, literally that
And that's
exact
the-
term, success rate of chemotherapy, and see what comes up.
We were misled.
But and we're misled on a lot of things. But and you know, you can get into that on a lot of things medically as to hell, marijuana in and of itself has been scheduled up there with cocaine for years as having absolutely no medical benefit when the federal government actively holds a patent on a cancer drug that uses marijuana.
Right. I know, right?
That's been shown in studies over the last year and a half from Harvard and stuff like that to actually kill cancer cells, like on contact, that will kill them.
So
I believe it.
The problem too is we're talking about chemotherapy and cancer, and there's different stages of cancer, and there's
Exactly.
different types of cancer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I never said that chemotherapy was the best, but I said it does work.
Right.
It
Although
does.
such conditions may vary for different types of cancer, it's commonly held that 80% of oncologists will not take chemotherapy if they suffer from cancer themselves. According to a 2004 report by Morgan, Ward, and Barton, the contribution of cenotoxic chemotherapy to a 5-year survival in adult meningitis. I don't know.
It's okay, keep going.
Survival in adults will estimate to 2.3%, but that's in Australia and 2.1% in USA. Now it works.
2.1% of the time.
Yeah, but that's in a 5-year rate. Like that is in a 5-year survival rate. That it does work.
Sure.
Like it has worked on people.
Oh no! I
When
know
a doctor-
people it's worked on.
Oh, okay.
I know people it's worked on.
Oh, okay. If you want me to say that it works, it works. But at a 2% rate, I'm not impressed by that 2%. I'd still.
Steve,
like
I'm not trying to have a competition with you, but
Yeah,
I'm just
I know,
telling you
Yeah,
that
I know.
it does
Right,
work.
no.
There
okay.
is a success rate.
And,
No,
and
I wanna say I
we
agree
don't
with you. It does.
understand
Yeah.
cancer. If we
Right.
did, then we wouldn't
Right.
have a fucking problem.
Right, exactly. No, I want to say I agree with you. It does work.
Yeah.
At that 2%.
Well, yeah. And it does depend on the kind of cancer, the type of chemotherapy that it is. There are numerous different, there are numerous types of radiotherapy.
And what are the side effects from it?
Well, there are crazy side effects from chemotherapy. We all know the side effects to chemotherapy, and none of them are pretty. And that's one of the biggest reasons to try to decriminalize marijuana is people who take chemo, people who are relegated to chemo and radiation therapy. It literally destroys the appetite. It makes you queasy constantly, things that marijuana is known to help.
My grandfather died of brain cancer in '87, and he went through chemo. I was quite young back then, and I don't know how long he took it or whatever, but, I remember the chamber thing. He would go in and read a book or whatever, and, spend time. And,
that's targeted radiation, though.
Yeah.
That's different. He did chemo with radiation.
Right.
And that's a totally different therapy course because both of my grandmothers had brain cancer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they use targeted radiation as well, which is where they put you into what looks like a CAT scan machine, and it puts a crosshair up, and that is literally where they're shooting a concentrated beam of radiation. Now, there have been some incredible results with targeted chemotherapy out of Europe, specifically out of Holland, out of France, stuff like that, where they've literally isolated the tumor from blood source. Injected the chemotherapy because it's a low-dose radiation. The radiation actually leaves your system fairly rapidly, but it does some damage on the way through. Now, if they can hold that radiation in one isolated spot until those isotopes have started to decay,
it's controlling that.
Once they release it, it's not nearly as detrimental to your body, and that cancer itself, instead of it processing through your liver and through your arm and everything else before it gets there and those isotopes start failing. That's the problem, is that by the time the isotopes start settling in that area, they've started to lose some of their half-life already. They've started to decay. So if they can target it specifically, they have a much greater success rate, and that's actually been shown in some studies in Europe and everything else. But it has not been approved by FDA yet. Fully targeted chemotherapy like that, where it's you literally are having like chemotherapy just on the tumor itself. They inject it directly in, not like into an IV into your arm. So there are a lot of new courses of therapy that have come out.
The technology, man, I'm sure it's getting better.
It's phenomenal. And I mean, here in Texas, we have some of the best cancer surgeons in the world. Right down the road at MD Anderson in Houston.
Nice.
There's a good article here on sciencebasedmedicine.org. It says chemotherapy doesn't work? Not so fast. A lesson in history. It's pretty interesting. It's good.
Well, and it is one of those. You have to take everything with a grain. You really do. Through my experience and what I've seen, it's typically not chemo that's going to be the miracle cure. It's chemo in addition to something else. It's a course of treatment that you go through. But not to stray from things, like, because that is a horrifying thing, but that's some of the science that's coming out. Right now, another crazy thing that's happened over the last week is there has apparently been yet another signal detected.
What?
From
I
space.
didn't hear about this. Are you serious?
I posted it on Facebook on the Dudes and Beer group. Go by and check it out on Dudes and Beer. But they are actively analyzing and figuring out that there are these perturbations and signals that they thought were regular star signal, and they are not. And they're trying to, of course, just like the big wow signal that happened recently,
pulsing differently, the frequency's different.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure that it is what it is, and it is what they think it is. But right now they are saying everything points to intelligent source. And they're like, don't get too crazy excited. We still have to like triple redundancy check this thing. We have to have repeatable science, everything else. But like Stephen Hawking and what's his name? Not Bezos.
I know the guy you're probably talking
Zuckerberg.
about.
Mark Zuckerberg. They have invested some serious money and time into looking into this. And when Stephen Hawking is looking into it, he's been one of the big proponents of not looking into things for the longest time, and not for the fact of science is a religion and we shouldn't change what we know
The
about
longest
science.
living Lou Gehrig's person.
Not that we shouldn't,
Awesome,
it's the fact of if these dudes can travel interstellarly, we should be afraid of them. Like, naturally, we should be afraid of them.
We're always normally afraid of things we don't understand, it seems.
Yeah, but it's more the fact that they have technology that could end us.
Right.
Literally.
Stephen Hawking's, Mark Zuckerberg, and Urban Mueller launch a $100 million space project called Breakthrough Starship.
Yeah, there was that. The last episode was actually about the possibility of a real federation of planets.
I saw that.
Yeah. It was really wild. There's actually a group calling themselves the Asgardians out of Europe that have petitioned the UN for statehood to create a space a colony of 100,000 plus people living both in orbit and on Earth. So basically, our first founded space colony.
Yeah.
To live full time.
Well, I think
in
something's
outer
up when Google's already trying to figure out space money and stuff. So I mean, they've already done that. Like, they're on that. So
Well,
I mean,
I mean,
they're spending money for this. So hey, something's going on,
Right?
They're all called credits in a movie for some reason. All those space credits.
Yeah,
But
space credits.
moving into creepy stuff, going from this and the crazy stuff going on, the scary shit going on in the election right now, which good God, Nelson went out and voted today.
I voted
Yesterday. Nice job, Nelson.
Nice
Way
job.
to participate. High five in America.
Yeah.
And we'll still see what happens. We have no idea, America, so it's not going to suss out for a little while, I guarantee you. It's not just going to be a one-time decision thing.
I think this guy Joe down the street could be a better candidate, but we got who we got.
Well, let's not get entirely into that. We're talking about scary things tonight.
Yeah, scary.
And specifically Halloween. This is a pre-Halloween episode.
Woo!
So let's talk a little bit about what y'all remember most from Halloween. What's some of y'all's favorite memories from Halloween when you were kids?
Oh, man.
Nelson, go ahead. You go.
Oh, shit. The reason I love Halloween so much is I'm a big fan of October. It's my favorite month of being in Texas. I love the change of the fall. When everything gets a little bit cooler, I just feel like people seem to get a little bit happier and a little bit more calm and finally we can get away from this hot transition.
Right.
Right, true.
Man, I've always loved Halloween. I've always loved going trick-or-treating.
I didn't realize it was hot in Texas.
True. I don't know, man. Just the Halloween tradition, going to parties, dressing up in costume.
Yeah.
I don't know, as a child, going out and trick-or-treating when it was cold and breezy and the leaves blowing. And it was just so different. And everyone got to dress up like they wanted to be, and everyone was super fucking happy. We go out and get candy, and you go to school the next day, and you would bring all your freaking candy, and everyone would be like, oh, what'd you get? And I don't know, it was more of it felt more of a coming together more than anything. And that's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah. What about you, Steve-O?
Oh, I got a memory. One year I had, my cousins were like my brothers and sisters, which was basically, I had my cousin, she was like a month older than me, and then my cousin, he was, her brother, he was like 4 years older. And one year we all dressed like E.T. and we had the the cheesy little costume package with the mask with the it ain't like today where you. But anyway, we all dressed up the same, and there's a photo of that. We're all E.T. It's like now looking back, it's like, why did we all do E.T.? Why couldn't we be something different? Why? I mean, I don't know.
Because everyone was E.T.
Yeah, everybody was
That's
E.T.
why.
Like,
Everybody
what the
was E.T. there. That's how it worked. You were either E.T. or fucking Skeletor, I guarantee it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember, I barely remember it. And somewhere, my mother has a picture of it, and I keep telling her, find it. But there is a picture of me at our old house in Crosby, and way out in the country. And I was dressed up as Peter Criss.
Peter Criss.
From
nice.
The Catman.
Yeah,
the Catman, the drummer from Kiss.
Dope, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like rubber boots covered in aluminum foil.
Dope.
Like the whole bit. It was pretty dope.
Did you make it all yourself? Kind of?
No, yeah. It was all homemade. My mom made it all.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was definitely one of those like, all right, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I want to get that picture and blow it up to like that Jimi Hendrix poster size.
Pretty dope,
like,
dude.
You know, make it full size, something like that. What you got over there, Nelson?
So this is interesting. This is a graph of all the Halloween costumes that have been hot and not so hot between 08 and 010. So this is on Bloomberg. This is a
infographics, dude.
Yeah, this is a
Bloomberg.
the biggest Halloween costume manufacturer, Howard Beige. He owns Ruby's, and he's got warehouses all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's really cool looking at this graph. You know, like in 2008, Witch was #1, and in 2016, Witch is still #1. It's the #1 costume people are going to go over. Vampire was 3, and it's dropped down to 4. It's just
I see a straight line on that Witch one. That
and
means
isn't
it's
that
like
crazy?
overall.
It's
right?
just
Like,
because it's an easy one to do. Like if you go in your closet and with scissors, you can make a witch costume.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and you're going to sell a fuckload of witch hats.
Yeah.
Well,
your
you're going
witch
to buy
hat-
costumes
yeah, your
in
witch
store,
hats-
I guarantee you.
Your witch hat from 5 years ago will still fit your head.
And you know, and when I think of the witch thing, you know, like back in the day, to me, the witch, you know, had the I don't know, the hat and all, you know, like this. You know, it had that one look almost, you know, and then like these days, I mean, you could dress differently and still call yourself a witch, kind of. You know what I mean? Like Hollywood has made these different things of a witch.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that Hollywood made them, and that's some of what we talk about in the next episode. Actually, is the history of witchcraft, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And it's interesting because that's not what a witch is. That is exactly what a Hollywood witch is all about. You know, did witches meet in covens? Sure. Right. You know, did witches cast spells every day? No, not necessarily. Did witches cohort with the devil? No, not necessarily.
No.
Were they evil? No, not really.
No.
You know, a lot of it would be put into the realm of native religion, things like that nowadays.
Marie Laveau, kind of?
Well, yeah. More into the realm of voodoo. Yeah. Well, voodoo, though, is more a combination of Catholicism and witchcraft. Mm-hmm. It's a combination of the two. It uses both, kind of like Santeria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, it's an interesting distinction because going back as far as we do in religion as humanity, there has been the dichotomy of good and evil.
Right.
Now, granted, it wasn't until Zoroastrianism that we started having that true concept and that true definition and split. And that was right up around the time of the Sumerians. Where they really started, here is good, here is evil. Before that, God was just in charge of everything.
Right.
And it's odd to go through, like there was a good couple, like 100 or so years of fucking witch hunts in Europe that people just glaze over. Like,
almost kind of like a Salem deal, huh?
No, way
Word.
Beyond Salem. Like, that's just it. The Salem witch trials was fucking light.
Damn.
Like, there were barely 20 people killed in the
people
Salem
don't
witch
talk
trial.
about this as much as Salem, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, well, there was a book that came out years ago, Malleus Maleficarum, which was the Hammer of Witches. And when that came out, it really set forth the rules as to what a witch was. Like what to look for in your town, and it really begat the whole finger pointing concept.
You better not be right and left-handed.
That person is strange. They look different. They never come out of their house.
When it's true at some
people.
points, even redheads, right?
Oh no, redhead was because we were utterly different. Yeah. We are an anomaly. We were definitely hunted and burned as witches.
That's messed up. Dude.
Most definitely.
Once again, things they're scared of or don't understand.
It's interesting how things get usurped by religion because, like, Day of the Dead. There's a huge Day of the Dead festival that goes on here in Austin. There's a big concert, everything else. It's over on the east side of town. It's wicked cool if you've never been.
Ooh, I want to go.
That is actually a mix of the Catholic religion and the native belief. And they actually go out to the graveside of their relatives.
And they can mix the two and it's all cool?
Yeah. I mean, it was an adaptation and a concentration of two beliefs. And it was celebrated beforehand and adopted into the religion, much like Easter eggs, Christmas trees, things like that.
Yeah. Those
are not Christian symbols. Those are pagan symbols that, hey, look, you have a holiday at that time, so do we. Check it out. Boom. We married the two. The tinsel that we put around the Christmas tree at one point was a Yule offering to the Mother Earth of the first hunt, and that was actually the entrails that you wrapped around an evergreen tree. And that's where we get tinsel from.
Right. A lot of people say that Jesus was not born on December 25th.
No,
he was in March.
He was much earlier. And that's true. At the time, there was the cult of Mithra, which very much had the same teaching about the birth as Jesus, and it was a natural transition between the two. So, star moved. And if you actually follow what would be the Star of Bethlehem, what they know, what would be appearing in the sky at that time and stuff, it rises at a totally different time than what is biblically said. So there are interesting inconsistencies like that. And there is a lot of usurpation. There is a lot of adoption of native tradition into religious practice. So, Dia de los Muertos is a perfect example. It's a prime example. It's All Hallows Eve. It's Halloween. And it's the day before All Saints. And you go out and you visit your family and you bring them their favorite thing. If it's a Twisted X, you bring a 6-pack out to the graveyard and you hang out.
Damn right.
That's theirs. These are yours. You bring them candy and sweets and stuff like that. And a lot of what we do now, as far as tradition for Halloween, dressing up in costumes, going door to door to get candy, things like that, very much came from those same kind of traditions.
Right.
And really putting jack-o'-lanterns out, things like that, to ward off evil spirits, to provide a light in the night for them to want to stay away from, things like that.
Right.
It came out of somewhat superstition, but also teaching at the time. So,
but the teaching was probably lost over the years, right? Would you say?
Well, I think the meaning.
the meaning.
The meaning was lost over years, and it just became normal.
Like a normal.
We just dress up in costumes.
Right.
We have no idea why.
Exactly.
And you can actually see a lot of that. A prime example, I rail on it a lot being a Cajun. A prime example of that is Mardi Gras.
I was going to say, Mardi Gras is
because
big one.
Not everybody understands the true religious roots of Mardi Gras. They go, sure, it's the day before Lent, whatever. That's all they know about it. They don't know, the history behind going out and dancing for food and coming back and making a gumbo. As far as they know, it's New Orleans and boobies and beans.
And wasn't your hometown one of the origins of it?
Well, I mean, it was France and all that kind of stuff was the true origins of it. But a lot of what they do and the costumes that they wear was used to make fun of the aristocracy at the time, who were the ones who had money. And the whole reason that they were coming together as a community, because, hey, sometimes this one meal of meat that would happen, this one community gumbo that happened, might be the only square meal that some families got for 40 days.
Damn.
You know? That's how lean times were. Because, dude, you were going into winter months at that point.
Yeah.
There was a good reason for you to get rid of a lot of the stuff.
Right.
Quite honestly, because it was going to go bad.
Right. Right.
You know, you weren't going to use it.
Why
so.
waste it and let it go to waste?
Yeah,
when you can give it
instead,
to good. Or
instead you
use.
put it to the community.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. And this beautiful tradition has been lost to boobies and beads and the sale of liquor. And that's, you know, there's a whole twist there of, the true concept, the true history, the ritual, the tradition that's there behind a purpose is gone.
It's gone.
And then another example of that one is Groundhog Day. I love pointing out Groundhog Day because it's right up around the same time as Mardi Gras.
I don't know if I've heard this one.
Well, yeah.
I might have, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, we've all seen the movie Groundhog Day, right? With Bill Murray, of course. You know, and I have a shirt. I've been to Punxsutawney, like it's a real place. They put it on the news every year, and there is a woodchuck. He comes out, you know, and they hold him up, and they read a proclamation. He doesn't come out and look for his shadow anymore because it's on TV, and that shit takes way too damn long. So he comes out and reads a proclamation. But if you listen to the proclamation of Phil the Groundhog, it means nothing.
Yeah, it means nothing.
It means Jack Rabbit squat. It means a woodchuck's doodle and nothing.
Yeah.
Because if he sees his shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't, it's 6 weeks till spring.
Yeah.
So either way, it's 6 more weeks of cold-ass weather is what you're saying. Really what
Sounds
it
like
is...
our presidency.
Really what it is a chance for the whole community to come together the night before and drink all night. And just party.
It gives them a reason
Have
to...
a week of pomp and circumstance. For no other reason other than, good God, we have 6 more weeks of this miserable ass weather where we will be locked inside. We rebel against you, nature. We will have fun. We will find something to have fun with.
It's almost like you can't lose, right? You know what I mean?
Hey,
something or other like
what's
that.
going on?
How much are
Something,
Doing all right.
something really cool
We're in the
like
middle of
that.
the show right now. Come on in. Sure, I guess. Have a seat, Rob.
We got a
special guest.
Special guest
Have a
tonight.
seat.
Yes.
Have a seat. We got some headphones if you need one.
Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to come in.
Yeah, I understand that. So we got about 3 minutes left on the show, Rob.
Okay, cool.
Can I put these on?
Sure, put them on.
Sure. So, Groundhog Day, stuff like that. It's it's traditions that are lost. It's things that people absolutely forget about.
Right. And it gives them a reason to, like the Groundhog Day, you can win either way. I mean, there's a celebration, it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like the groundhog, whatever. It almost sounds like somebody's going to party either way, almost, Well,
yeah, exactly. And that's just it.
And it lost its meaning by doing so, kind of changing it almost, so people forgot or something, what the real meaning was.
There was no real meaning.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's one that is utterly made up.
Okay,
it has absolutely no meaning.
Yeah, no meaning at all.
Yeah.
I tell you who did party is Lewis Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton. He won
what are
the
you
F1.
involved in over there? Because you've been on the computer the whole episode.
Yeah, what's going on?
I haven't been on it the whole episode.
What's going on?
I've just been, Googling what we've been talking about.
Okay, what's up with this Lewis Hamilton or whatever?
Tell us about Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton. He won the F1 on Sunday. He reached the 50-win club,
which is
a big. It's a big thing to do. There's
Enlighten us.
There is 3 people who've done the 50 career wins. Among the 3 is Lewis Hamilton, which is at 50, Alan Prost at 51, and then Michael Schumacher at 91. It's a big deal. If you can get into that, that's a huge thing. But Lewis Hamilton led the race over Nico Rosberg by 4.5 seconds, which is a pretty good lead considering the F1.
Yeah.
Especially here in Austin with our racetrack the way it's set up. Turn 15.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good coverage.
Hey, Rob, did you get any of that F1 while you were... I don't know.
I felt it in the air.
Yeah.
There was helicopters flying over, and
Did you?
I knew it was here. And only wished that I had rented my house out for $1,200 a night.
Yeah, right?
It's making me think.
Well, you can't do that much in Austin anymore, though.
Oh,
Only
with that
illegally.
breakdown,
Yeah. I mean, utterly illegal.
You gotta pay a
That's
hotel
illegal.
tax
They
passed
if you-
city
Oh
code,
yeah,
right?
dude.
City codes after that.
They passed hotelier laws finally.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you can't be on like Airbnb without having a legit
Well, you
hotelier's
can,
license.
but you might get busted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
might-
you'll
yeah,
more than
yeah.
likely get busted. That's just it.
I know
It's
a friend of
thousands.
mine, she still does that. She got kicked out of her apartment complex for doing it, and she went to another one, actually right next door to where you used to live, Chris.
Yeah.
And she's doing it again. It's like, hey, didn't you learn already? God, jeez. Like,
What penalty did she pay?
I don't. She didn't ever told me none of that, but she did say she was moving immediately, and I figured she
So
got
maybe she
penalized.
didn't really do a penalty.
But I do know the apartment complex made her move. I know
Oh yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. You're subletting your apartment to people
She was
that aren't
acting
on the
like
lease.
it wasn't like her main income
Yeah,
was
that's a big lawbreaker.
like she didn't work and
Yeah,
that was her
just a
main
little
income.
bit.
It was like her main income, and she acted like it was like she wasn't doing anything wrong. She was like, but
She
I
wasn't
am.
doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
She was
yeah. She
Trying to make some money?
yeah,
trying to make some money.
Yeah.
and she
Getting her
would
hustle on.
made her some money, a lot of money, I guess. You know, paid her rent for a couple months or something.
Yeah.
What she did, whatever.
Partied in Hawaii.
Yeah, it was stupid
Yeah, with
shit.
all that cash.
She didn't do a whole lot. She was very lazy.
That was always a story, right? You
Glad
know,
I didn't mention
you rent your
names.
place out for $1,200 a night and you go to Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I normally take gigs out of town whenever shows like that are happening. I didn't want to take one for F1, but then it came along and it was like, oh, I gotta go. I haven't heard back from F1 anyway. So.
Right. I'm thinking about doing that with South by this coming year, is renting out my crib,
Oh yeah.
you know, for the week and just go to Portland or
Dude,
something.
not many people can fit in a crib. You should
Yeah.
rent your whole house.
Well, I think a crib, if you can cut up the bodies, you can fit
Yeah.
about 5 in there.
There's some people into that.
Yeah, there's people into a lot of things.
Yeah, that's creepy.
A lot of
We're talking about Halloween.
I know, right? So,
there's websites for that stuff.
well, and let's get into some websites. Let's get into some of that. We're going to take a real quick break, and we will be right back right after this, folks. Woo! And we are back, everybody. Yes. Once again, I'm Chris Jordan, your host. With me now is Stephen Bishop, Nelson Kugle, and Rob. I forget your last name.
Brooks.
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 How you been doing, man?
I've been here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
Been hanging out.
Have you been hearing things?
Rob popped in, and we've been trying to get Rob on the show for a while. You know, we talked to a lot of the guys here at the space, and we're like, hey, you should totally come be on the show. And they're like, oh, I'll totally come be on the show. And Rob actually came by tonight and is on the show. So it's just that easy. People are like, oh my God, it must be so hard to be a
Thank you
guest
for
on a
the invite,
podcast.
man.
You're welcome. You are
You literally
welcome.
rang the doorbell,
are
and
so
it was
glad
on
you're here.
silent. I've got a record light on there, and that was not on. And
always wanted to be
apparently the
here.
door was unlocked.
Always wanted to be
So
here.
Rob is here. So
Nice.
welcome, Rob. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you.
We've been talking about Halloween and scary stuff and things like
Halloween.
that. One of the things I wanted to get into with Billy Stewart that we really didn't get into a whole lot was this. It seems like over the last few years there has been, because like we all grew up with urban legends, you know, we all grew up with like, you know, like a prime example for Austin is fucking Dazed and Confused, the Moon Tower. You know, like,
my God.
I heard some freshman climbed up here, man, and when he got to the top, he fell down and hit his head the whole way down on every rail, man. You know, like
Every rail.
everybody has a story like that, you know, in the town that you're from, things like that. There's always some creepy place where it's like, oh, well, this is what happened here. I remember on the west side of Houston where I was from, there was a white house. And I forget the name of the street. My buddy Billy's going to fucking kill me for not remembering it. But it was literally just this old white house with blacked out windows. And it was like, it was creepy as fuck. Like literally just like black, like painted black windows. And it's like, oh, dude, like that's something that I would do nowadays. Because
sounds like a nightclub.
I really don't want to know what's happening. I don't want to know what's happening in the
brothel
world
up in
around
that
me.
motherfucker.
I want no light in my studio except what I make. But you know, it was just this crazy story about an old man that went nuts and like killed his family and stuff like that. And that no matter how many times they tried to sell the house, that like the windows had ended up being painted black before somebody moved in. Like somebody close on it, and like they'd go to move in, and the windows would all be painted black. And we all have these crazy urban legends, but it seems like over the last couple years, these things have taken on a life of their own.
Oh, yeah.
Like here recently has been the bout with clowns.
Oh, geez, clown things.
All over
Can
the
we
place.
stop here?
Yeah.
go
Oh,
ahead,
yeah. No, but there's been the issue with clowns all over the
It's
news.
gone out of hand, man.
Crazy, man.
Well, and it really, to me, it started with the clown in Pennsylvania who called himself, I think it was Pennywise. I think he was named after the
Great
clown from
band.
It. But they're all kind of modeled
Good
after
band,
this
for
clown from It, which is coming out soon. And Lord
Tim
knows,
Curry.
hell, it may
Great
just
job.
It may just be a publicity stunt.
That's what I was thinking.
Who
this whole
knows?
thing's
It may just be a
thing, maybe.
publicity stunt for the It show.
See, I was thinking the same thing.
We aren't too far off. you and I.
No.
But it's just weird how this stuff like takes on a life of its own and takes root. There was a dude that was shot because he like went up and rang a doorbell in a clown suit. They were talking about some clown, and I love saying that. They were talking about some clown over in San Marcos.
Yeah.
And he shot him.
Walking around an apartment complex with a chainsaw.
Jesus Christ.
And it's like they never found the dude, but he was reported to police.
Does this sound like complete, utter nonsense to you?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, thank
Like,
you.
and don't get me wrong. As a kid, I did some nonsense. Like we're
No,
all
I mean,
dudes at
like
this
it didn't
table.
really fucking happen.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what they're actively trying to figure out right now: is did this dude actually exist?
Right.
And there was the case of the kid here in Austin Public Schools that spent a day in jail.
Yeah. Didn't he have that Twitter account or some shit like that?
It was
Put some
on
emojis
it was
and
on
shit?
Facebook, and he put some like a knife emoji or something like that. It was like, looks like I see a lot of victims, things like that. And the kid's just expressing himself. He's just having a larf, whatever.
Right.
But this kind of stuff gets
And
blown out.
they got
now.
him from some terroristic threats and shit.
Oh well, yeah,
some serious
no,
charges.
that's what it
Sucks.
is nowadays.
It's like, what the
that's
fuck,
what it is.
man?
Kids got a rap for life now for making a joke.
Yeah. It's like, would he have gotten that same thing if the clown thing before him, all this shit before?
If all the clowns before him?
all the clowns.
I mean, Bozo was obviously a serial killer.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You cat these clowns.
Clowns are not bad people. Clowns make you laugh.
They do make you
They're
laugh.
nice and they're caring people.
They
Right.
are one of
It's
the
an inversion to make.
Yeah,
you,
it's an inversion.
They psychologically, though, are one of
You're
the
right,
top
Rob.
fears. They are one of the top fears. They're right up there with
But why?
spiders, stuff like it's the makeup.
My fucking
It's the
cousins
makeup.
were fucking afraid of them the whole fucking time I knew
Yeah.
my cousins. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't get
Most
it. They were
people,
totally-
it's how young they are when
They
they're
were
exposed
afraid.
to them, and how crazy the makeup is. Like they're, like a traditional red nosed
I mean, how
clown.
psychopathic the individual was beneath the makeup. Maybe
Well-
that was it. He was like giving forth this heart.
and nobody and nobody thinks of like John Wayne Gacy, I think it was. Or
Oh
something.
no! I think utterly about John Wayne Gacy.
I mean,
about that
I haven't
stuff.
heard that name brought up during the clown thing, but I mean, that's the only clown that I would be afraid of. But I mean, other than that,
Well, he
clowns
did do children's parties, and he dressed as a clown and had a life as a
Who's
clown.
this?
But
John Wayne
whenever
Gacy?
you're talking
Yeah.
about traditional clowning, you're
Child
talking about
pedophile that kill kids.
the red nosed clown and stuff like that from traditional French theater and that kind of stuff, where it's the sad face and the red nose, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It's not extreme makeup like Ronald McDonald is extreme clown makeup,
Right.
And that's a different.
sell some shitty meat. Yeah.
That's the buffoon clown. That's a different clown. It's the concept of Laurel and Hardy with the red
And the
nosed
actual,
clown and the buffoon clown.
I even read some articles lately that real clowns today that actually make business, people that
Oh, they're
dress as
pissed
clown-
about it.
Yeah, they're pissed
They're
and they're
pissed.
losing
It's-
business.
It's utterly
Yeah,
encroached
they've-
on their business.
yeah, they're
by
they're
all
in a
means.
slump right now.
Yeah,
Because they got a
there
bad name.
was a whole movement. Clown lives matter.
Clown
Literally.
wives or
Yeah.
Clown lives.
Yeah.
Clown
Clown
lives.
wives.
wives?
Because
thought this is
people
for-
are getting threatened. Go ahead, Nelson.
This is interesting here. Incident in LaGrange, Texas. The police said on Facebook that they had issued warrants for 4 people on charges of making terroristic threats and disrupting public schools after officials received numerous Facebook messages on September 12th about individuals dressed as clowns threatening to commit acts of violence at 3 schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete horseshit.
And,
Yeah.
Well,
The shit.
It's no different than making a bomb threat.
Yeah.
It's no different than calling up and saying, I'm a crazy person,
But
I'm going to
they're
shoot up
dressed
the
as
place.
clowns, and that's a problem. Is that they have to hide behind something.
Right.
Oh, true.
Like, you're so childish that you want to make that bomb call. You want to call in the school. You're so childish.
Yeah.
But now you're like an adult. You're like, well, I'm going to get caught, so... Well, I'm going to go on social media and dress as a clown.
and
And now I can do it. Yay, mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we talk a lot about that, how social media has led to this concept that you are not socially responsible for what you do and say. And it's just not true.
It's not true. That's not true.
It's not, because people get fired from work.
As evidenced by that. Just not true.
People that duct tape their kids.
You made threats, you will be arrested.
Yes.
So, but to delve a little bit deeper into that is the concept of Slenderman.
Yeah!
Over the last few years.
Slenderman.
Yeah, Slenderman is this meme that took over the internet. And you remember, a meme is not just internet-based. A meme is a concept that moves society. To put it in a nutshell, there was, I believe it was a horror contest or something like that a website, a blog was putting on to come up with a character, and some like an urban legend, and somebody came up with Slenderman. Basically, the shadow being that has been spotted for ages in this area, kind of like Mothman,
Great movie.
And they started giving it a life. They started telling stories about it and like photoshopping images of like kids playing in playground. And the images are creepy as fuck. If you go, like, you've got Google there, look them up real quick. Now,
Just
Oh,
Reddit?
yeah, the Slenderman?
what's that?
On Reddit?
It's on Reddit. It's all over the place.
You can find
and it became this viral thing that happened about 3-4 years ago. So much so, the two girls, I want to say in the state of Minnesota.
Right, they were young, too.
Like 13, 14 years old, took a lifelong friend out into the woods to sacrifice her to Slenderman.
Yep.
Because he demands human sacrifice to be seen.
And they did.
And like, they literally killed this poor girl.
Yeah.
Just jacked up
They did
things.
it.
It takes me back to the days of, like, if you remember the Dungeons and Dragons episodes back in the 80s.
Satanic Panic.
Yeah, I remember people saying, like, I literally had a survivor of the Holocaust tell me I was a Satanist for wanting to be a designer for TSR when I was in junior high. And I was like, number one, what the fuck is that? Yeah, there's Slenderman. But there's pictures of Slenderman, like, at a playground and stuff like that, like with the little girl in black and white, like, on the swing, and he's, like, creeping out behind a
Why not
tree.
Fat Ugly Man? That'd be more realistic.
Fat
For
ugly
American.
on a playground, right?
Yeah.
There's an ancient myth story
Fat Ugly Man.
of a Mexican story where, like, it's called, like, Negro something, and he's either in the mirror or something, and it's very much so like Slender Man.
Yeah.
And it's a totally correlation or the same thing.
Well,
kind of
and
deal.
it's interesting because mirrors are used by witches. They're for scrying, dark mirrors. And I've said for years, that it's interesting to me how our TVs are now really large dark mirrors.
Pretty much right.
Mirrors were something that back in the day you kept covered. You always had a sheet over them, things like that, until you used them and then you put it back on, because that was like, I don't know if you've seen the, what is it? Damn it, my wife would kill me, Mr. Norrell on fucking Netflix. But it's a show about magic in the 1700s in
Cool. I like to check that out.
no, it's really, really good.
That's what I loved about, like, The Illusionist, that movie.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved how it was set back
The thing is,
when that was being created.
mirrors
The
have
illusion.
always been seen as something mystical. Number
Right.
one, they were made out of silver, which was
Right.
the metal of the moon.
Right.
So, it was one of the only things that was naturally reflective.
Gold is from the sun.
And, it's wild that our entire culture now has been existing around these dark mirrors that, like,
Yes,
any
dark mirrors.
witch now, or new age witch rather, would be using for scrying. Back
Right.
in the day, they used cauldrons full of water. Nostradamus used a candle, and he would literally put himself into a trance by watching candle flicker over water. He'd tap his plume into it and watch the water ripple, and it would put him into a hypnotic state where he got his nocturnes.
And he knew some shit because
his
he was
quatrains,
able to do
rather,
some.
not his nocturnes.
Yeah,
He didn't write music.
No,
Good God, wouldn't that be badass if Nostradamus wrote some
No,
pieces of music?
I'm gonna
would be really
transcribe a
fucking
bunch of his
awesome.
speeches to
yeah,
music.
yeah, that'd be sweet.
Oh, yeah.
An algorithm.
That would be crazy.
There
shit.
is an interesting one out there.
Crazy.
Look it up real quick, Nelson. You've got the Google machine over there. Look up the Rosslyn Motet. And Rosslyn Chapel, you know, the chapel that's featured so prominently in the story of Robert Langdon and Da Vinci Code, stuff
Right,
like that.
okay.
Mysterious chapel that was built. Nobody knows where the fuck the money came from for this thing. It was a poor
Wow.
parish, and then suddenly here's this $1 million chapel with like masterworks of masonry and stuff like that.
Ooh.
That's supposed to hold a lot of secrets. Well, there are these interesting cartouches up at the top that have geometric shapes on them. And this person actually realized through cymatics, you know, a new
Cymatics?
Yeah, you know, where you're basically vibrating sand with sound and
certain
stuff.
frequencies that make
And-
the sound actually.
and they-
Seismatic.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah,
That's true.
it actually
Seismatic.
certain
Yeah.
frequencies.
Put it on the woofer of a speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
makes
certain
objects.
frequencies actually make patterns. They make geometric patterns.
On
and
its
this
own.
dude realized that what was on these things were cymatic patterns of an actual note in the musical scale.
Yeah.
And they are. And it's crazy because he actually wrote a piece of music called the Rosslyn Motet based off of the musical staff that is inside of the Chapel of Rosslyn.
Wow.
Dude, I
And
heard
it's
about
just-
that in Zelda a long time
Yeah.
ago.
That is
Yeah.
dope.
Widowmaker?
That's dope, dude.
But yeah, it's literally wild that kind of stuff was embedded there. And if you look at ancient religions, everything else,
Sure is.
I mean, the symbols for the
Everywhere.
chakra basically match up with those tones. You know, the
Frequencies,
orbit of
frequency,
Venus.
yeah, frequency.
Yeah. And you know, it's
Sure
not.
is.
It's actual
That's
science.
what a tone
it's
is.
really wild.
It's a frequency.
Yeah. So you know, it's not
That's what's
beyond
so
our
great about
realm.
vinyl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, going back to mirrors and things like that, the mirror was seen as a gateway. It was
Yeah.
seen as, sure, you can see yourself, but whatever's over there can also see here. So you covered it most of the time to keep that away.
And what else is a mirror reflecting? Yeah, it's only reflecting what you can see from it, but what else is it reflecting? Because you're only seeing what you can see, but what else is it reflecting? Kind of.
Well, it's the
It depends
fact
on the level of
ahead.
mirror that you
Yeah,
have. I mean,
right.
a
Yeah.
3-level mirror, you
Yeah.
get like a little bit of a weird spectrum.
Yeah.
And a 10-level mirror, if you worked hard and saved
Yeah.
up, you can get a 10-level mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? I never
to take
thought
it back
about
to the
that.
D&D concept.
Ah, it's not. I mean, it's any game ever.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, the whole dark mirror concept to me is something that's interesting because we have become a zombified nation with television. We have become a nation that, you know, a buddy of mine said years ago, whenever Walking Dead started, he was like, Walking Dead is just a big ass analogy for the American public.
Yeah,
And it's the fact
it's
that-
almost like they're trying to tell us something. I mean, they're sucked into the vortex, but these artists, the producers they're trying to tell us something. I know I'm a slave, but please,
Yeah. No, absolutely. Please, somebody save us from this slavery that we're in.
Right.
And
We don't have Google Fiber here, so
we don't.
I'm
we have a meager hotspot.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But
bring up
unlike
what we
most
wanted.
places in this
gotta
place,
Google
we
it.
have internet.
We have internet.
That's true.
And you know, it's just odd to me that these things creep into society. You know, whenever you're talking about things like Slenderman is something that was so off the grid, and then suddenly was rammed into the news, and it was everywhere. And it came around one Halloween, and it was there, and people were going to Slenderman, and then the next thing you know is somebody sacrificing somebody to him. You know, and it's like, it's just odd to me the way that these things creep into society. The way that we allow them to creep into our mentality.
I'm a Baptist and a recovering Baptist,
That's all right.
and I don't really have a problem with sacrificing.
Yeah.
As a recovering Baptist, I love you. That's awesome.
He goes, I love you.
I love his laugh after that. I have no problem sacrificing 12 ounces of anything to.
You're not sacrificing, you're enjoying.
That's it. I am imbibing. As Dionysus would
Chris,
like.
did you ever hear about a mirror in Houston that little kids were seeing a dark creature in it? Only kids could see it. And I heard off a radio show that it was put into a storage unit, and it's in a storage now, I guess. But yeah, there was a thing with a mirror that only kids could see a dark figure.
I heard something about that. Yeah, I remember that on Coast to Coast a couple years ago. Yeah, there's that. There is the haunted doll. That has apparently been a part of numerous mysterious deaths and things like that now exists in a creepy and haunted museum, like a museum run by a husband and wife that supposedly carries all these artifacts that are creepy and haunted. And it's weird because I remember one year they actually did on Halloween a live feed of the doll. On Coast to Coast,
the Raggedy Ann doll, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that looks like Raggedy
Annabelle
Ann,
or something, right?
Yep, Annabelle is her name, and oh my god,
Warrens,
it's just
the
this
Warrens.
creepy. Yeah,
Probably
it's just
the Warrens
this creepy doll
museum,
creepy doll. But there are these stories all over the place about this stuff. We all heard stories when we were kids, about Bloody Mary.
Yeah, right.
Things
go
like
into
that.
the bathroom and turn off the
mirror.
The mirror, exactly.
Mirror opening around
and there's another
Ring
one.
around the rosy.
I heard about
full of posies.
Exactly.
Yeah. I heard about the Midnight Man. The Midnight Man.
Midnight Man. What the fuck is the Midnight Man?
There's
Steve?
a midnight. It's called the Midnight Man, but I don't know the whole. I can't remember it all. But there's a one. It's something very similar to the
Slenderman.
Some or other in Bloody Mary in the mirror and all that. And you go in the room, do the Bloody Mary deal, and it's the Midnight Man, and you got to do it exactly to the seconds exactly to midnight, and then this creature or whatnot or whatever it does.
Let's talk a little bit because there was a video that Steve. We haven't done a whole lot of videos of the week recently.
Sure.
We need to start doing them more. Steven picked up the videos of the week, and it's one of those, we're kind of picky about some of our videos of the week, really. But Steven put together a list the other day, and he sent me one, and he was like, what do you think about this?
Check this
do you
one
think
out.
we should post it? And what was it, Steven?
It was a little rough. It was out
rough.
there. It was out there. It was Lisa Lamb.
Lisa Lamb.
Do we have a flick?
What's that?
Do we have a flick? Can we show it?
I don't know. Let me see if I can pull. Actually,
while you're doing that, I'll give you a little. So Lisa Lamb was a Canadian, if I remember. She was Asian descent and born in Canada, and she was traveling, and she stopped off at the Cecil Hotel over at in California, on the outskirts of LA somewhere. It's the poor area though. And the Cecil Hotel doesn't have a whole lot of good vibes in the first thing.
There have been numerous people of rapport that have died at the Cecil Hotel.
A lot of bad things that happen at Cecil. It goes back to the Black Dahlia.
Hold on,
stuff like
is
that.
it the same where the chick that 5 years ago died in the water?
Yes. Black Water. There's a movie called Black Water based on it.
Yeah.
Because people actually in the hotel.
Wait, the Black Dahlia murder happened at this hotel?
No, but she was
She lived at that hotel.
Just said no.
No, she lived at that hotel.
Yeah, she lived at.
Did the murder happen?
No.
Oh.
The murder happened in a
But
park.
she lived there.
Yeah. She lived there.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
they found her body.
It's a hotel steeped in odd
10
fucking
years ago,
circumstance.
10 years ago,
back.
some chick walked into some kind of the water source and jumped in a water
and they have no idea. I'm playing the video right now. Here is Lisa Lamb actually coming into the elevator.
The
and
last
she does,
video of her.
There's supposedly a code.
Why the fuck are you bending down to go to a floor?
There's supposedly, here's the thing, there's supposedly a code that makes the elevator go to any floor that you want. Now, supposedly, she's supposed to be putting in this code, what have you. She thinks she hears somebody outside and looks out. No, nobody's there.
No.
Now, odd thing is, this girl ends up on the roof through a locked door.
Right.
That she has no key to, and dead in the water tank.
Not only that,
why doesn't
naked
she shut the door
with her clothes floating
hit
next
the
to
shut door button?
And it's It's just an odd case. Nobody knows what this is. The last thing seen of Elisa
and
Lam.
her actions as you watch this video are very odd, and you get to see her do weird movements.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm seeing
and
horse manure.
She may have already done it, but she eventually goes back and hits every button, like slaps all the buttons, and the ultimate resort is the ending of this. She ends up in the water tank on top of the building, naked, with her clothes floating. And to actually access the water tank she's in, you have to go through locked security doors that she had no keys to, and they had to weld to actually get into the tank that she was floating in.
Let me ask you this:
they have no idea
because there's no witnesses. They could have totally made up this whole story just to sell something on TV news.
It's just it's just to get your fucking mind on set on something else to start believing other shit.
See, there's an actual CNN news of it reporting it, and people that reported drinking the water while they were there during this, and the water was coming out black.
Of course.
Yeah, and it was coming out black.
Yeah, because someone, when they pour a glass of water and it's black, they're going to drink it.
Right, exactly. And, who would do that? Who would do that?
There are reports of the water like that. There are reports of people who live there fighting it. It's water. The black water coming out is what led them to finding her body.
Right.
And to finding this footage.
Can you pause it real quick?
Sure.
And that last piece right there where the foot...
Okay, hold on 1 second. We're 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah.
She is still outside
in the elevator.
Outside the elevator.
Right.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes in. Any fucking hotel.
She must have been all
when they
acid.
still have 40 vacant rooms. There are people roaming that hall.
Yeah, right.
There are service managers. There are area service managers for each floor.
That's what makes
there
it
are
creepy.
house guests. You don't think someone has walked by like, hey, what are you doing? Why is the door still open?
Why are you acting crazy?
2.5 minutes in? Come on.
Maybe they did, but it's obviously cut. The video's cut all up. Who knows? You know?
You would think
Maybe
that.
she had sex with the hall
She just
guy.
did a blowjob behind that corner right there. There was 3 Asian men and she blew all 3 of them.
We would never know.
Yeah, we would never know.
But this is one of the odd ones that's come around that, like Steve-O said, has actually led to a movie.
Yeah.
Are you fucking...
Called Black Water.
Black Water.
Hey, whatever, if Hollywood's got to do it, this is, oh my God.
They made a movie about
I'm going to cut my mouth.
Yes.
Because they weren't looking for her body when they were inspecting why is the water fucked up.
Yeah.
And they had to cut in by welding through this thing, and there's her body, and they're like, how the fuck?
Yeah, they have no idea how she got in there.
You do realize that she was a sacrifice to Satan.
See, that's the thing. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
She is one of the many things, like I said,
It's not funny.
that has come into the public realm over the past many years that has become a case of urban legend, where we have no idea.
Right.
We have no idea what's happened. Just like the Amityville Horror.
Right.
The house has gone through many owners and stuff like that. It still stands. It doesn't look anything like the house in the movie, believe it or not. But, that stuff's there. Like, I've been to Salem. It's literally one of my favorite towns in America. I love the town of Salem, Massachusetts. And they embrace their history fully.
I knew a friend, and I can't remember who at this point, but I remember speaking to someone. They said they knew someone that rode by that Amityville house, and actually their car broke down. They had no idea where they had no idea where they were at, and they said they were like stranded near this house, and then they walked by or whatnot. I guess thinking that this was a house, perhaps maybe they could like get some help from or something. But they walked by and they kind of saw, okay, nobody's here or whatnot, but they said they heard weird noises coming from it. Later on, after, they fixed their issue or whatnot, they found out later on, way later, that was the Amityville house, and they said, we heard a lot of weird noises coming from that as we passed it by.
I'm sure that's a well-known setting.
One of my favorites that I've seen lately is the fact that you can actually stay at staying at barbecue at the gas station from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that's right up the road.
Yeah.
That movie was made by Texas University of Texas film people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And no, it's a huge piece of
Based
Texas
on
film
their
history.
game.
Go ahead, Nelson.
Another funny thing is do y'all know about the ghost tracks in San Antonio, Texas?
Oh
I
yeah,
do.
no, I've been there.
Been there, done it.
Like you
I've never heard of
put
it.
your car in neutral and you
Yes,
pick up,
we did. And we got pushed off, or I'd say we got moved off.
Okay, hold
But-
on. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
What is this?
There is a
I
set
did.
of
Hey,
Yeah,
Nelson.
I'm from San
there
Antonio.
is a set of railroad
There's
tracks.
railroad tracks where a school bus got hit by a train,
Right.
and all of these children
Right.
supposedly died there and still like roam that area. So if you get caught on the train tracks, they will push you off.
And if
And
you
if you
put
put your
baby
car-
powder,
If you put baby powder on your bumper, you can see the hands of the children.
Wow.
Every video I have seen, they do not show a video camera over the bumper while it's happening. They show a before and after.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now this guy over here is saying that he did it.
I was young, but we did it. Yeah.
Okay, how old were you?
Well, I was about
In
maybe
my
10.
What do you mean we did it?
Well, my parents, because it was. I was from San Antonio. I was from that area that was like the urban legend, you know. So it was like, hey,
Your
look.
parents killed a bunch of kids?
No,
Yes.
Twice.
His parents are murderers.
no. We just always heard about this railroad track. That they said that like if you fucking set your car in neutral and you sit on the track, that they'll push you off, you know.
Yeah.
And not only that, if you want to go to extra mile, you put baby powder on the back of it and the bumper and all that. You'll see the fingerprint.
Did you
Fingerprint.
have
Now-
baby powder on y'all's bumper?
We did.
Here's the thing.
That's the
Okay,
only
let me
thing.
ask you a
and I
quick
wish we
question.
would've,
Hold
but
on
I
one
was 10
second.
years old to bargain with my parents.
I would like to dissect this. You were 10.
Yeah.
And you were with your parents.
I was in the vehicle.
Who else?
My mom and my stepdad.
Okay, so
Yeah.
your parents and your stepdad.
Yeah.
So 3
Yeah.
plus you.
Yeah.
No one else.
No.
Okay, how many other people were in that vicinity when you got at neutral?
Nobody.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm serious.
What year was this?
Oh, you got me. I don't know. I don't know that year. Shit, that must have been like late 80s.
And that was when this was hot and everyone was over there.
I don't know what time of year it was. It might have not even been around the Halloween time. You know what I'm saying? So it might have not been a hot point.
What I'm just trying
You know
to
what I
say
mean?
is that don't
Right.
you think
But no.
someone might have been behind your attention? Your parents were trying to focus their attention to you.
No.
So
no.
you kept looking
no,
forward.
No. It was late, and we did do that. And I mean, my recollection and my testimony was I was there. I was in that vehicle. There was me and my parents, and we were in the vehicle. We sat at the neutral. We sat on the track, and it slowly moved off.
So
But,
your
I mean,
recollection at 10 years old is that you remember just getting pushed off.
well, it moved off.
Okay.
I didn't have baby powder. I didn't see no fingerprints.
Okay.
But that's what I
Listen,
can testify
From what
to.
I've seen at train tracks, there's
Yeah.
a large hump, and if you're
Right.
at neutral, your car could easily move forward.
That's
correct?
yeah, right.
This is not one of those locations.
right.
There is a slight.
Hey!
God fucking sake. Here, let me have some of that.
Yeah, here, drink it up.
There is a slight incline there.
there is a slight incline.
But
I'm always
but
looking
I will
for
tell
a
you this.
scientific way of
I've been
explaining.
there. I've done it, and it is a creepy fucking phenomenon.
Yeah,
it
I
is
don't know. I
it
wanna
is
try
a
it.
fairly close to level grade of road, not completely.
Right.
Not
but-
completely.
And I'll tell you this: I've also worked. Mad shout outs to Joe Perez out there with Texas Chronicles.
Joe Perez!
I used to edit video with Joe, and he actually introduced me to Lone Star Spirits. They did all kinds of investigations. I was at a few. I experienced some weird things. I've seen weird things happen at places,
I remember some stories you told me. It was just blew my mind.
and you know.
Nothing weird has ever happened to me.
Yeah, and I understand that. You also, I don't know if you
Chris,
put
I
your-
like your story. I like your story, the cash register.
Well, the cash register was interesting, but more than that was
That's beyond interesting.
More than that was batteries that were brand new that did not work.
that happens.
I wouldn't say that. I use batteries on a daily basis in my job every fucking day. Every day.
But
Bricks of batteries, and it's pretty rare that I throw one in and it doesn't ring as full.
Yeah.
What would you
Pretty
blame that
experience
on,
that.
though?
I don't know. I have no idea. It was strange.
Chris's story of the cash register, I
But
think, defies
I've
all.
literally been there on site
Why?
to a building that had no power going to it. and seen a 10-key cash register turn on and open.
Wow. I think we should do...
With no power. Same night because we were all on battery. There was nothing at all plugged in. Yeah.
I do have to say
Cut off from city power.
I do have to say that we still do not understand electricity. We do not understand how electrons move and how photons gravitate towards the electrons to move.
Fully, no. We don't.
Exactly.
We don't. There are
Thank
definitely
God.
strange forces at
lit.
force. There are definitely strange forces at work.
Okay, I give you that, Nelson, but still.
Dude, this is not a debate.
Steve. You'd be better served just to go along with it, man. It's
Well,
like...
let's just take a quick game.
I gotta
around
play
the
back
table.
cup. I gotta play.
All right.
Who actually believes in ghosts?
I've had a ghost experience.
Oh,
I don't
yeah?
really believe in it. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
What happened, Rob? Tell us.
I'm a total disbeliever, and my wife is a total believer. And of course, she's been visited by aliens and all this shit.
Nice.
I've never experienced anything like that. But one night, I was sitting in my bed, and the water came on like almost full blast on my tub. And the thing that you had to turn the water on, this is an older house, like 30, 40 years ago. It was like, just to get it to come on. And my first reaction was like, fuck you. Why are you fucking with me, you jackass? And then later my wife was like, yeah, that's just, you're being visited. I don't know why I felt hostile.
Sure.
But I was just like, quit messing with me. I don't
Yeah. No,
I've messed with me.
No, I've definitely had I've had peaceful, good experiences, and I have definitely had hostile fucking experiences. I meant to bring it tonight. I could not find it because, as you've seen at my house, guys, things are still a shambles from the fucking move.
Right.
But I actually have one of the only sketches I've ever made in my life is of this being that I saw at the end of my bed, and. I distinctly... You grab me one, please, Steve-O. I distinctly remember it was a night after a gig. I was tired, everything else. Fell asleep probably about 1 o'clock, something like that. Woke up about an hour or so later. Went to the bathroom, had a couple cigarettes, went back to sleep. Woke up around 4 o'clock, something like that, and went to the bathroom again. And when I did... there was something in the mirror behind me.
The Mothman.
And it was literally just a shadow of a person. And it freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
It really did. I turned the light on. It was gone. Things like that. Went back into my room. Went into my college fridge and opened up a beer. And had a beer real quick. Had another cigarette. Went to sleep. And next thing I know, I can't breathe. And there's something violently moving me, and it's at the end of my bed.
Oh.
And that's when I see its full visage. It looks like a black cloaked person with, green eyes, coming after me. Go ahead, Nelson.
What year was this?
This was probably up around 03.
College?
04, no.
No? Oh,
No.
I thought you just said college.
No, it was after college.
Oh, okay. Were you using anything?
No.
No hallucinogenics?
Nope.
No speed?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
When was the last time
Nope.
you used prior to that?
Quite a bit before that.
How long?
Easily 10 days before that.
10 days?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Nelson.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Have you ever had a ghost experience?
No.
Yeah, I've never had either, and I was completely full. And like I told you, the first one I had, I was just like,
Doesn't explain.
that's the type of person we are. We don't give a shit. If you're floating out there,
and what I'm just and what I want our host and guests to understand and our listeners is I'm not trying to be a dick. I just want to understand if this was true.
I can give you no
empirical
empirical evidence other than my experience and other than my testimony.
And that's
all I can give.
exactly. I'm not trying to debunk it, but I just want to understand further
I don't even
where you were at.
Nelson,
I know you.
I've had just as many people tell me I am crazy for feeling the presence of God and being moved to be in the seminary.
I know.
Right.
I know, and I feel you. I'm right there.
What seminary?
Like, I have no compunction whatsoever to disbelieve what you believe.
Yes.
Because believe me, it's something that I wish I could explain.
Yes, I understand.
I've had incredible waking dreams where dream is still going on around me while I am physically awake and I can't move. I've had those dreams.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to deny the fact that what happened may have very well been part of one of those dreams. Where it's literally, oh my God, it just escaped me the term for it. The type of dream.
Waking dream.
Yeah, waking dream, but it's beyond the realm of damn it.
Daydream.
Just naming dreams, but
I'm sorry,
afternoon dream.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. And it's literally almost a type of synesthesia, where you are awake and it's a night terror.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
the
term.
term.
It's a night terror.
Yeah.
Is the technical term for it. Where literally your mind wakes up, but your body does not.
And there's many of these experiences
you're still in the midst of dream, but you can't move, you can't speak.
Right.
You know what's even more
That's a
interesting?
highly recorded thing that he went through that is on record. There's a huge percentage of people that experience that.
That's a lot of the reports of incubus and succubus. That's what psychologists boil that down to. And that's definitely what I saw was along the realms of incubus, succubus. Something was trying to come to me in
incubus
my sleep
or succubus?
and
Which
take
one?
my shit.
Yeah. Hey!
I have no idea it was
tomato,
close.
incubus, succubus. Suck it, okay? That's all I got.
One's female, one's male.
But
the only difference is this was cloaked, so I have no idea.
But you know what's so fucking interesting, though? What's so interesting is that there are so many scientific researchers and philosophers who are talking about that we might be living in a fucking virtual realm.
Well, not just in that, but in a multi-dimensional
realm. We're in a dimensional era, and we are in a dream.
Can travel through our dimension.
Who fucking knows?
Yeah. Hey,
and that's just it.
I had a girlfriend I was with for 5 years a while back.
You had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
No.
So anyways, anyways, it goes to that same experience Chris had. She told me that many a times when I was asleep in bed, we were asleep, or I thought she was asleep, but I was asleep, having sweet dreams or whatnot. She said she witnessed this Nosferatu figure come and sit, and had these long, finger things and stuff, and would sit at the edge of the bed. And she would have those paralyzing things, where she couldn't move and stuff like that. And he would sit at the edge of the bed, and she wouldn't tell me until, the next morning or maybe even a couple days later. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? And she I think.
So what do you say at that point? You were like,
exactly.
What kind of drugs you taking?
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you wake me up? But then she said she's paralyzed.
It's just her brain.
Yeah, she can't wake me up because she's paralyzed. So I mean, I would.
It could have been drugs.
Your body,
prescription drugs?
No,
your body is paralyzed when you're asleep too. That's why your body wakes up and it's tingling. It's literally coming out of a state of sleep. Mm-hmm. Your mind produces chemicals that put you into a comatose state to where your muscles don't move so you don't hurt yourself while you're asleep.
Pituitary gland.
Very true.
Some of us
he's not lying.
Don't experience that. You can ask Amy. I experience night terrors. I move in my sleep. I fight shit in my sleep. I have no idea what's happening, but I have punched walls in my fucking sleep.
Jesus,
that's pretty
shit like that. It's pretty crazy.
It's
pretty crazy.
You
but
know that?
It's called high tension.
It is absolutely. And the brain processes a lot of stuff that you don't get to process while you're mentally awake during the day, and that's where our dreams come from. And the question is, like you raised earlier, is it the fact of dream? Is it the fact of our brain in an altered state? Or is it the fact of an interdimensional entity?
Right.
Because, we are coming to understand the fact that we may not be the only dimension there.
Right.
I've had dreams, literally, where I am on another planet and I am at a Muse show and they are playing what's that fucking
Hey, let me stop you for a second.
Madness.
Right
They're playing
now.
Madness.
Stop. Why don't you write these down and make them into art?
Because I'm lazy.
Yeah, that's why.
Way to be
Write
poignant.
it down,
Way to
man.
be poignant.
Fucking right.
Muse show.
So
Another
I-
planet.
My wife has
1
dreams
minute.
like that too.
1 minute. 1 minute. We got 1
I'm at a
minute.
Muse show on a different planet, and they play the song Madness, which is like a 5.5 minute to 7 minute song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're playing their extended song, and I wake up from the dream singing and humming the extended verse to that song.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. I have actually had shared dream experience with people
What?
where we actually dreamed about the same thing on the same night.
Wow.
I had an acid experience like that where we saw the same thing.
Dude.
That's acid. That's great.
Been there. Been there.
Better than
Absolutely.
dreams.
I said, hey, did you see that? Hey, did you see the Beatles playing in the clouds?
Yeah, man.
And he was like, what the fuck, dude? That's exactly what I saw. Right. What
Yeah.
the
There.
shit?
Well, and that's just it. Really, when it comes down to it, we all are a common being. We all are one.
Right.
And
That's the
think
biggest
about that this
Oh,
Halloween.
yeah.
Get out there, be safe, look out for the freaking clown.
Hey, and don't forget our Halloween episode coming
That's right.
up.
With Scary
Thanks
Dad.
for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer Podcast. To listen to our live audio streams, tune in at dudesandbeer.com or Spreaker.com/dudesandbeer. You can find our episodes on SoundCloud.com as well as the Google Play and iTunes market. You can also find us on YouTube, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the Revolution Digital Group family of podcasts. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.